Hi, Maddie and Eli, Daddy here. I'm in my local park again today, and I hope you guys are still really well. And there's been some talk on the news about lockdown ending and the country sort of beginning to reopen again. But Jurassic Park opened too early, and look what happened there. Besides, there's a lot of dinosaurs around here. So, a couple more bonkers performance stories today. This is all just to give you an example of what a ridiculous job it is being a professional musician. There was the time when I commuted to Greece to actually not do a job. It's bonkers enough commuting to Greece, let alone not even doing a job when you got there. But anyway, the story was I was booked to perform on a cruise. I've done lots of cruises as a singer and also as a pianist. The channel crossings are great because you only spend, you only have to work one evening and then you're off the next evening and then you do the journey back the following evening. So that's easy. But this was a big cruise in Egypt. It was meant to be for a week, but the ship set off. It's called the Minerva, set off from Greece. And I was going to sing, among other things, Celestia Ida, and I never turned down a chance to sing Celestia Ida. So anyway, but of course there was a lot of Gilbert and Sullivan in the programme as well, which should have been a warning sign because I've always found it's one of my strange superstitions that nothing good ever comes from performing Gilbert and Sullivan. And in my case, something always inevitably goes horrifically wrong. So we all met up at Heathrow in the morning and we flew out to Greece. There was already a little bit of a disagreement about various professional matters on the way, but nonetheless, I boarded a flight and flew out to Greece. And we got the minibus to the ship, went on the ship, all fabulous. Then I'm informed I'm not actually needed for the performances. So thus, I flew back the very next day. So I can officially say I commuted to Greece and didn't do the job, which is a little bit bonkers. Then there's a bonkers performance story, which charmingly, although inadvertently, involves you, my darling Eli. I was starring in a contemporary opera, a new production of a run called Eros and Psyche, in which you may know the story of if, of course, you are interested in the classics when you're older. I played Eros, the god of love, and I played him as a bit of a rapscallion, as you'll see on the video if you ever watch it. And yes, it was a three-hander, so three performers. It was me, Eros, the god of love. It was my wife, the goddess of love, Psyche, and there was a mortal woman whose name in the opera was Peggy, and she was played by the Hollywood actress Kalita Rainford, star of House on Haunted Hill and a few other movies like that. Anyway, so bearing in mind it's just a three-hander, but that I'm playing the god of love, during that short run, we only ran for I think a week and a half, your mum got pregnant with you, which meant that I got pregnant too, essentially. Kalita got pregnant as well, which is already 2/3 of the cast. And then, bizarrely, the very next time, the only other time I sang an aria from that opera was in a gala concert, I think about a few months later, where the lead soprano in that, Marie-Claire Optenoort, a great Dutch soprano, one of the only singers I've ever met who has a natural trill. Interesting. And she informed me that literally she had got pregnant. She'd done the test that morning. So I keep saying, please, can we bring back Eros and Psyche? I'd love to do it again because I've always wanted family with lots of kids. And yeah, so that's bonkers, isn't it? And then there was, after my cancer treatment, while I was still undergoing checkups, I got involved with the Testicle Tour, who is run by Darren Couchman and Richard P. Miller, who one of whom's a survivor, the other of whom is his best friend. And they, together with lots and lots of other survivors, some one-ballers and some flat-baggers, have this fabulous thing called the Testicle Tour, who go around raising huge amounts of money for charity. And I got involved in, I think, 2008, beginning of 2008. And since then, I've done loads of stuff with them. And the Testicle Tour, of course, have been on This Morning and lots of TV shows, and you can YouTube and Google all this and watch them in action. Anyway, so one of the first things I did with it, and we all go around in a big group with huge, I think they're yoga balls, but they're covered in this lovely fluff, and they look like very, very large testicles. And we have an offshoot called Check 'em Lads, and it's all fabulous, and they're all great guys, and some of them are very close friends now, and yeah. Anyway, so one of the events I did with them was we all went to Covent Garden, and they were formed my choir behind me, and I had the big megaphone, and we performed Nessun Dorma instead of Nessun Dorma, it was check your balls, check your balls. If you don't check your balls today, then one of them may go, etc., etc., etc. And we did the whole thing. It was fabulous, and it raised lots of money. But the story I want to tell is when we did a Testicle Talk World Cup charity event, which we had lookalikes for Sven-Göran Eriksson and David Beckham, who was big at the time. That's when he had the floppy hair, and was still in England. And we had like all the signed T-shirts from people like Joe Cole, never heard of him, and all these English footballers. And we had themed things going on, and food and street food, and a cherry picker in the middle with a cameraman at the top. And it was in this kind of open air shopping area near Clacton-on-Sea, or as they laughed at me for saying in a ridiculous posh accent, Clapton-upon-Sea. But anyway, yes. So again, I performed as part of it, and obviously Nessun Dorma is a big football song made famous by Pavarotti in 1989, I think it was. Although, of course, it's been a classic since 1920s, I think, which was Turandot's premiere. Anyway, so I'm outdoors. Obviously, you're mic'd up. Normally, you wouldn't be mic'd as an opera singer, but we're mic'd because we're outdoors. And plus, we want to bring the crowds in from further away. And you could hear me, like, about half a mile away. So I'm performing, and it's very, very windy. Extraordinarily windy. So there is a copy of this video somewhere online, you'll have to find it. But I'm basically cupping the mic, trying to cover the end of the mic because the wind's blowing straight into the mic. So I keep kind of moving around like this with the mic, which is on a stand. So I'm kind of gently moving it around, desperately trying to avoid where the wind is blowing. And I sang various arias, Puccini arias. And Nessun Dorma was actually great, went marvellously. And we broke a Guinness World Record that day, I should say, myself included, of the greatest number of simultaneous men self-checking themselves for testicular cancer in one place. I hate to say, but our record has since been broken by the Americans, but Darren informs me we are hoping to reclaim that title at some point. But anyway, to finish the story, I was singing Donna non vidi mai from Puccini's Manon Lescaut, and right at the end, it was perfect, and everything else in the program went well. It was just one moment, and at the end of the aria, you have to do Sussurro gentil de non cessar, de non cessar. And as I hit the top B flat, a gust of wind blew straight down my throat, and let's just say the note disappeared, which was a little bonkers. And the crowd laughed, but I kind of got over it. But yeah, so that's a bit crazy, and a bit of a composite story too. But yeah, so more bonkers performance stories soon, and Daddy loves you always. Mwah.